Hello YouTube, and welcome to another unboxing from Mad About Hoovers. Today we are doing a unboxing on something other than a vacuum cleaner, which is a little bit unusual for my channel, but nevertheless I do sometimes have to have new other appliances as well. So I've already done on my channel an unboxing of my new kettle, which was the Bosch City, which is also on my channel, immediately preceding this video in the timeline. But the other appliance I bought today from Argos was the Tefal Oatmeal Grey coloured. There we go, that's the colour of it. And it's the Tefal Maison, and it's the 4-slice toaster. This toaster was £34.99. It wasn't on promotion or special offer. I basically wanted to replace my old toaster, which I'll show you now. It did feature in the last video, but I'll show you again. This toaster here was my old one, and I've had this toaster now for some years. I'd imagine it's well over 10 years old now. I think it was probably about 2006 when I bought this, because I replaced all my kitchen appliances in that year, and this is one of the old ones that hasn't been replaced. But basically this has been a pretty good toaster. I've had no problems with this whatsoever, but now it's starting to not brown the toast very well. It leaves it darker at the bottom than on the top, and some of these elements inside, whilst they do come on, they tend to glow brighter on one side than they do on the other. So they seem to brown the bread better on that side than they do on the other side. So I've decided now that it's time for a new one after all this time. So it hasn't actually stopped working. It does actually still work, so I shall keep it as a spare. But essentially this is the Avanti toaster, and it's the high speed, and it's a 2-slice. But what I wanted was a 4-slice one, so that I could do more than 2 at the same time. So anyway, that's that one. I don't know whether we want to see a model number on there, but it's absolutely full of crumbs inside. There's the model number of the old one, if the camera will focus on it. There we go. That's actually made in China as well. So I'm very, very surprised there that something made in China has lasted so long. That's a very, very great exception to the rule, because most stuff made in China packs up after a couple of years or falls to bits. It's the consumerist society we live in now that appliances just don't last, so that you have to keep dashing out and buying new ones. But there we go, that's the old one. So let's have another look now at this one. So if we focus in on the label on the top, model Serie T36. It is, there's the model number there. I don't know quite what the model number is. It's on this one, but we do see again here the familiar made in China logo. So I really doubt that this will last as long as the old one did, because I do make a lot of toast. I'm surprised the last one lasted so long, but we'll see how this one goes. I will do a few slices of toast in it before we end the video. Right at the very end, so that I can eat it afterwards and not waste it, because I haven't had my tea yet. So there we go, that's the one side of the box. What do we have on this side? This basically is telling you all about the functions it has. It's extra wide slots, ideal for thick and thin slices of bread. So I don't think you could do bagels or big buns and things in there. It's not that wide. High lift system there to easily remove small slices of bread, which is basically like a lever on the front that we'll see that anyway when it's out of its box. And we've got customised browning, customised toasting, 7 browning levels of desired browning qualities. It's going to take me a while, I suppose, to get that right, so I don't keep setting the smoke alarm off that's in the kitchen, which I've done so many times with the old toaster when it burnt the toast and set the flaming smoke alarm off. So we've got 3 automatic functions: stop, defrost and reheat. So basically my old toaster did that as well. And the reason I got the Tefal one was because my old one was Tefal and it lasted so long. So we thought, well, might as well get another one. So there we have on that side of the box a diagram showing the various functions, which you can do 2 slices at a time or 4 slices. So it's independent. Oh, that's the high. I thought there was 4 levers there, so you could have one done at a time. And you have to push all 4 levers down, but no, you don't. This is the carriage lever for those 2, and that's the carriage lever for the 2 on the other side. So if you did want to just do 2, you could do 2 instead of 4. So that's quite good. Yeah, I think most toasters work like that nowadays, don't they? So you don't have to do 4. So there we go. That's the outside of the box. They're saying that they do a matching kettle there, which I did see in the catalogue, but it was fairly expensive, and I didn't particularly like it because it hasn't got the flip-top lid, and I prefer the flip-top lids rather than just the lift-off ones. So let's open the box here. I don't know quite what all this is on the lid here, but I think this is basically showing you the quick start guide about how it works. And we can lift that back. Oh, it's always so exciting, isn't it, when you get something new. I know this isn't a vacuum cleaner, but I still like to have other new appliances from time to time, and I thought, well, why not show them on the channel for anybody that wants to see what you get in these boxes. So there it is, all in its packaging. So while we get this out, I shall just have to put the camera down on the side, like so. Now, how's the best way this is going to be to get this out? Let's take it off this at the table and maybe turn the thing on its side and we can slide it out sideways. Just check the camera can see. Yeah, it can. It's a lot bigger than the old one, I'll say that much. I suppose it would be really, being a 4 slice. There we go. They don't use any polystyrene in the packaging, which is also good for the environment, so that's good. Put the box to one side. Immediately it's plastic, and the old one was metal. So it shouldn't, in effect, get so hot on the outsides. There we go. So let's have this down again now. That's rather nice actually, for the price it was. I mean, it was. So we all moan about things being expensive, and then we want the cheapest of everything. So I suppose we have to accept the fact that if we want them cheap, they're going to be made in China. But even the most expensive ones can be made in China as well. There we go. So let's take out the protective cardboard there from the slots. How lovely that looks. It's so nice and shiny compared to the old one. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So it's metal where it counts and plastic on the side, so you're obviously when it's on you're not going to get burnt, which is one of the things the old one used to do. It used to get very hot on the outside because it was metal. So here we go. We've got the carriage slots there. So you push that one down, and then obviously you're... Now what it does is as similar as the old one, is that when the power's not connected, the carriage lever won't stay in the down position, it pops up. So if there's a power cut, the bread just pops up, basically. That there, basically, that lever is the lift. So if you've only got very small things like crumpets in there, so in order when they're finished that you can get in down to get them out, you can press that lever, and it's slightly... It doesn't raise it much, but it just raises it enough so that you can pull the crumpet out by the top. I mean, I don't cook crumpets in here very often, but I do from time to time. Do like a bit of crumpet. Yeah, there we go. So there's the carriage lever for the other side. And we have a browning knob, so you can have the browning on different levels for each side. So if you wanted to do 2 really well done slices in that side, you could use the this one on the higher setting than this side, and this would do it on less. So I think this button here is your reheat button. Okay, so if you'd already cooked the toast and then forgotten about it, or had to answer the phone or something, and then went back and it had gone cold, you push the carriage lever down and press that button, and it would just reheat the toast again rather than burn it, to save waste in it. And then you've got a stop button here, so if it was you noticed it was starting to smoke in the top and it was starting to burn, then you could press that button immediately and it'd pop up the carriage. It's another function the old one used to do as well. And then this one here is the frozen slice button. So if you took the bread straight out of the freezer, you would push the carriage lever down and then press that button, and it would extend the cooking time to take into account that the bread was frozen to start with. Again, it's all things that I need to try out, but I don't normally put frozen bread in. So there we go, we've got the Tefal Maison label on the top, and it's got a little label here, if this thing will focus. Bread carriage will not stay down unless toaster is plugged into the socket and switched on. No toaster should be left unattended. When in use, please remove this sticker before use. Otherwise it'll melt, I suppose, and make a mess. So there's the side there. It's a nice. I would have preferred a grey one. Now, I hadn't realised it was rather a sort of it's a taupey colour. It's the same colour as the carpet. Very similar colour to the carpet in here. Again, plastic all around the back. Let's just have a look at the underneath of it and see the whereabouts on this are the crumb trays. I think they might be on the other side, because undoubtedly with a toaster you always get the crumbs that drop out the bottom all over the worktop. They're a nuisance for it, but let's just turn it over. So here we've got the stock label there. Serie T36 again. I don't know if there's a mark on there that tells you when they're made. A3516, I mean it might have been made in week 35 of 2016, I don't know. I don't know how to date these things, but I'm not really bothered anyway. I can remember when I bought it. So again, it's a French company, Tefal, but they just insist on making everything in China. Sign of the times. There we go. Yes, here's the crumb tray. So if I just put this down and we turn it back over. So you basically turn it round to the back of the toaster, and then you can slide your crumb trays out from the back. So it's always handy to get your handheld vacuum cleaner out at the same time, because inevitably when you pull these out they just scatter crumbs everywhere. So that's those. So let's take it in the kitchen then, and we'll put it to the test. Right, so we're going to just decommission the old one. So blimey, I mean, look at the difference in size. It's a lot bigger, so it's going to take up a fair more space on my worktop having that, but I suppose that's the price you pay for having a 4 slice. It's literally twice the width of the old one. Yeah, so let's just unplug the old machine from here. I mean, this is a terrible setup here with all these plugs, but when you've got so many appliances in here, you have to have these multi-sockets. Just means I have to be careful. If I've got the tumble dryer on, which is plugged into there, I can't use the toaster at the same time, otherwise it overloads the socket. So there we go. Let's yes, well, the inevitable crumbs. So we'll get the little Dyson out. This is one of the things that I use this for on a regular basis in the kitchen, is for picking up the crumbs around the top. There we go. So we'll just pop that back in there. Now that will go in there quite nicely. Yeah, it does take up a lot more space, but yeah, I suppose I've got room for it on there. So let's just plug it in. And take off the protective plastic off the plug. Put the plug in, and then put the cable underneath there. Just have a look to see where the little feet are. There we go, that's wonderful. So there it is. I will just test each element now to make sure they come on. So we'll put the browning control in. So there we go, we can just put it on to probably number 3 to start with. We'll have that one on. There's the little marking there on the side. I would have thought it would have been on the top, but it isn't. 7, that's number 3 as well. So yeah, they don't appear to come on very brightly. Perhaps this doesn't... let's put the other side down as well. There we go, so at least they both go down. We'll just check that the elements come on that side. And there we can see them. They're starting to brighten up a little bit more now. I don't know whether this is going to be as quick as my old toaster, but I know it absolutely stinks. One thing we've got to do as well is remove that label, they said. There we go. Did that quickly before it got hot. Yeah, so yes, it looks like they are coming on all the sides. And it really stinks. Absolutely stinks at the moment of burning. This is, there we go, and it's popped up already on that one side. So that's quite a short cycle. So we'll just test the stop function on there. Yeah, that works. So when you press that, it automatically pops up. So what I'm going to do now, but just before we end the video, we'll see how well it cooks the bread. So here's the bread. It is Aldi's finest, both in one bread, 45p a loaf I think it is. It's Village Bakery there, and we'll see how it cooks the 4 slices of bread. We'll put the 1, 2, 3, 4. And what we'll do is put it on, I think setting number 4 really might do it, but I have to keep my eye on it while it's new, otherwise the if I look up there you can see the smoke alarm, and the amount of times that I've set that smoke alarm off by burning the toast. Let's go then, shall we? 1 slice down, other side down. I'm wondering how long it will take to do. Now it might be a bit shorter because I've just used it and it's already hot. So you normally do find that if you've used it before and then you put a toast in immediately afterwards, it browns that quicker than it did before because it's actually already hot from the previous use. But yes, it is rather nice unit, and it doesn't get hot to the touch on the outside. Obviously the top part is very hot. The front part's quite cool, so if you had little children, then they put their fingers on there, they're not going to get burnt on it. It stays very cool on the front, even when it's turned on. Surprises me though that those elements don't get brighter than they do. So it's been in now for about a minute, I think. It's a bit tricky to see whether it's burning or not here because the slots they're not quite as wide as they were in the old toaster. Anybody that's stuck with the video so far, thanks for your patience. I'm sure watching a toaster toast bread isn't very interesting, but you never know. There may be people out there that love toasters and collect them. I'm sure there are. If there's people that collect vacuum cleaners, there'll be people that collect toasters, people that collect irons, people that collect kettles. So there we go. There probably won't be another toaster unboxing or review for quite some time, so there we go. Yeah, it is. I think it is slower than the old toaster was. I'm sure my old one never used to take this long to do. There we go, and that's popped up, and yeah, that's fairly good. So it hasn't overdone it. That's just nice. If I wanted it a bit browner than that, I could turn it up to number 5. So hopefully now the other one should pop up pretty soon, and there it goes. So that's excellent. I'm quite pleased with that. That's done it in a reasonable time, which is what I think it was about 3 minutes, something like that, to toast the bread. So there we go, that's a little unboxing and first use there of the Tefal Maison 4-slice toaster, and I shall see you again on the next video. So bye for now.